You were taught about the American Revolution. You were taught about the French Revolution. You studied the Declaration of Independence, the rights of man, the birth of democracy. But there's another revolution, one that came after, one that went further, one that succeeded where every other enslaved people in history had failed. And it's the revolution they barely mention. Let that sink in. The only successful slave revolt in human history happened in Haiti. Not partially successful, not symbolic, completely successful. The enslaved rose up, defeated 3 European empires, and created the first Black republic in the world. And most people don't know the details. Most people don't know the names. Most people don't know how it was done. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't ignorance. This was design. Because if the enslaved masses of the 18th century knew what happened in Haiti, they would have known something terrifying to every slave-holding power on earth, that it could be done, that chains could be broken, that masters could be defeated, that Black people could govern themselves. So they buried it, they minimized it, they framed it as chaos, as savage uprising, as a footnote to the real revolutions happening in Europe and North America. But Haiti didn't just fight for freedom. Haiti redefined what freedom meant. This is the story they don't want in your textbooks. This is the revolution that terrified the so-called civilized world. This is the Haitian Revolution. Let's start with what you were told. If Haiti appears in your history education at all, it's usually like this. Slaves in the French colony of Saint-Domingue revolted in 1791. It was violent. It led to independence in 1804. Haiti became the first Black republic but fell into poverty and instability. That's it. Maybe you heard the name Toussaint Louverture. Maybe you saw a painting of a burning plantation. Maybe your teacher mentioned that Haiti had to pay reparations to France. But the depth, the strategy, the brilliance, the global implications, erased. You weren't taught that Haiti wasn't just fighting for freedom. Haiti was fighting the richest colony in the world. Saint-Domingue wasn't some backwater. It was the jewel of the French Empire. It produced more wealth than all 13 American colonies combined. It generated nearly half of France's overseas trade. Sugar, coffee, indigo, cotton. Saint-Domingue was the economic engine of European empires, and that wealth was built on the most brutal system of slavery the world had ever seen. Think about what that means. This wasn't a weak empire. This wasn't a declining power. This was France at the height of colonial dominance, backed by Spain and Britain, all trying to crush a revolution led by people who weren't supposed to be able to read, let alone fight, strategize, and win. But they did. Not once, not twice, repeatedly over 13 years against professional armies, and they won. So why don't you know the details? Here's what they erased. The Haitian Revolution didn't begin as a revolution, it began as resistance. For decades before 1791, the enslaved Africans of Saint-Domingue had been organizing. They practiced voodoo in secret. They maintained African spiritual systems that colonizers tried to destroy. They created networks. They remembered their warrior traditions. They kept the knowledge of rebellion alive. These weren't passive victims waiting to be saved. These were strategists. And in August 1791, they made their move. It started with a ceremony, Bois Caïman, a gathering in the northern forests of Saint-Domingue. Hundreds of enslaved leaders came together under the cover of night. A voodoo priestess named Cécile Fatiman presided. A Hungan named Dutty Boukman led the spiritual call to arms. This wasn't just a meeting, this was a covenant. They invoked the spirits. They swore an oath. They drank the blood of a sacrificial pig and pledged to fight to the death for freedom. 1 week later, the northern plantations were burning. Thousands of enslaved Africans rose at once, coordinated, precise. They destroyed the machinery of their oppression. They killed overseers and masters who had brutalized them. They seized weapons. They took control of the land. The French were caught completely off guard. But here's what you need to understand. This wasn't chaos. This was warfare. The Haitian rebels didn't just burn and scatter. They organized into disciplined units. They used guerrilla tactics. They knew the terrain. They used the mountains and forests that European soldiers couldn't navigate. They rotated leadership. They adapted to every counterattack. They fought like an army, because many of them were. See, the colonizers had a problem. Saint-Domingue's enslaved population was constantly replenished by direct shipments from Africa. Unlike in other colonies where most slaves were born into bondage, Haiti's enslaved Africans were often only one generation removed from freedom. Some had been warriors in Congo. Some had been soldiers in Dahomey. Some had been leaders, strategists, and commanders in their homelands. They didn't forget. They brought that knowledge with them, and when the moment came, they used it. Now, let's talk about Toussaint Louverture. You might have heard his name, but you weren't told what he actually did. Toussaint wasn't born a rebel. He was born enslaved in 1743. But unlike most, he was allowed to learn. He read. He studied military strategy. He learned French, Latin, and some level of medicine. He understood European politics better than most Europeans. By the time the revolution started, Toussaint was nearly 50 years old, and he was ready. He joined the uprising, but he didn't just fight. He organized. He turned a mass rebellion into a revolutionary army. He established discipline. He trained soldiers. He created supply lines. He built alliances. He played European powers against each other. Think about that. This man, who had spent his life in chains, outmaneuvered French generals, Spanish commanders, and British officers. He defeated a French invasion force led by Napoleon's brother-in-law. He negotiated treaties. He rewrote the colonial constitution to abolish slavery. He governed. By 1801, Toussaint Louverture was the de facto ruler of Saint-Domingue. He had transformed a colony built on slavery into a self-governing territory, led by formerly enslaved Africans. The Europeans were terrified, because if this could happen in Haiti, it could happen anywhere. So they came for him. Napoleon Bonaparte sent an expedition of over 20,000 soldiers to retake the island and reinstate slavery. But Napoleon knew he couldn't beat Toussaint in battle, so he lied. He invited Toussaint to negotiate peace, promised him safe conduct, swore there would be no betrayal. Toussaint came. They arrested him. They shipped him to France and locked him in a freezing prison in the Jura Mountains. No trial, no charges, just isolation. Toussaint Louverture died in that prison in 1803, alone and cold, after spending his life giving freedom to hundreds of thousands. But here's what Napoleon didn't understand. You can kill a leader. You can't kill a revolution, because the Haitian people didn't stop. After Toussaint's capture, new leaders rose. Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, Alexandre Pétion. They picked up where Toussaint left off, and they went further. Dessalines was different. He was harder. He had been brutally tortured as a young man, and he carried those scars into leadership. Where Toussaint had sought diplomacy, Dessalines sought total victory. He understood something Toussaint hadn't fully accepted. There could be no freedom while Europeans remained in power. So Dessalines did what the so-called civilized world calls unthinkable. He declared that Haiti would belong to Haitians, not French, not Spanish, not mulatto elites loyal to Europe, black Haitians. And on January 1st, 1804, he declared independence, not as Saint-Domingue, as Haiti, the Taino name, the indigenous name, the name that honored the original people of the land before Columbus. Haiti became the first free black nation in the Western Hemisphere, the first nation born from a successful slave revolt. the second independent nation in the Americas after the United States. But unlike the United States, Haiti actually meant it when they said all men are created equal. Let that detail sit. The American Revolution kept slavery. The French Revolution kept colonies. The Haitian Revolution ended slavery completely, immediately, permanently. No compromise, no gradual emancipation, no waiting for white approval. Freedom, total and unconditional. Now here's where the story gets darker, because the world didn't celebrate Haiti. The world punished it. Think about what Haiti represented in 1804, a nation of formerly enslaved black people who had defeated the greatest military powers in Europe, who governed themselves, who proved that Africans didn't need white masters. That was unacceptable. The United States refused to recognize Haiti for 60 years. 60. Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote "All men are created equal" while enslaving over 600 people, called Haiti a threat to civilization. France demanded reparations. Not reparations for the enslaved, reparations for the slaveholders. In 1825, France sent warships to Haiti and demanded payment for the property Haiti had freed, meaning themselves. They demanded 150 million francs, the equivalent of tens of billions in today's currency. Haiti was forced to pay, or face reinvasion, so they paid. For over a century, Haiti paid France for the crime of freeing itself. That debt crippled the nation. It drained resources, it strangled development. It created the economic conditions that colonizers would later point to as proof that black self-governance doesn't work. But the payment itself was proof of something else, that Haiti's revolution succeeded so completely that Europe had to economically destroy it to maintain the illusion of white supremacy. Because if Haiti thrived, every colony would see the lie. You need to understand what Haiti actually accomplished. This wasn't just a military victory. This was a philosophical revolution. Before Haiti, the idea of universal human rights was theoretical. It was something white men debated in salons while enslaving millions. It was a concept applied selectively based on race and class and geography. Haiti made it real. Haiti forced the world to confront the contradiction at the heart of the Enlightenment. You can't claim to believe in liberty while holding people in chains. Haitian revolutionaries read the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and said, "You meant this for us too." And when France said no, Haiti said, "Then we'll take it." The Haitian Revolution influenced every liberation movement that came after. It inspired enslaved people across the Americas. It shaped the abolitionist movement. It gave moral weight to anti-colonial struggles in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Simón Bolívar, the liberator of South America, found refuge in Haiti when his own revolution was failing. Haiti's president, Alexandre Pétion, gave him soldiers, weapons, and ships. The only condition? That Bolívar abolish slavery in every territory he liberated. He agreed. Without Haiti, the map of Latin American independence looks completely different. Without Haiti, the global fight against slavery loses its most powerful proof that freedom could be won by force. Without Haiti, the entire moral architecture of human rights remains a conversation controlled by Europeans. Haiti didn't just free itself. Haiti changed the world. So why was this erased? Why do textbooks spend chapters on the American and French revolutions, but barely mention Haiti? Why do students learn about Napoleon's campaigns, but not the black generals who defeated him? Why is Haiti taught as a tragedy instead of a triumph? Because the Haitian Revolution was too dangerous to celebrate. It proved that enslaved people could think, organize, fight, and win. It proved that blackness and intelligence weren't contradictions. It proved that white supremacy wasn't natural law, it was force, and force could be resisted. If Haiti's story had been taught the way the American Revolution was taught, entire generations of colonized people would have known, this can be done, we can do this. So instead, they wrote Haiti out. They framed the revolution as violence, not justice. They emphasized the brutality of the uprising, but ignored the centuries of brutality that caused it. They focused on Haiti's post-independence struggles without explaining that those struggles were deliberately engineered by foreign powers. They taught you that black self-governance failed. They didn't teach you that it was sabotaged. This was narrative warfare, and it worked. Most people today know more about the American founding fathers than they know about Toussaint Louverture. Most people can name French revolutionaries, but can't name Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Most people think of Haiti as poor and unstable. They don't think of Haiti as the nation that fought 3 empires and won. That wasn't an accident. That was the plan. Let's go deeper into what made Haiti's revolution militarily unprecedented. Because this wasn't just brave people charging into gunfire. This was strategic brilliance on a level that European commanders couldn't match. The Haitian revolutionaries used terrain like a weapon. The mountains and jungles of Saint-Domingue became defensive strongholds that European soldiers trained for open-field battles couldn't penetrate. The rebels knew every trail, every river, every hiding place. They practiced what we now call asymmetric warfare. They struck fast, disappeared, struck again. They burned supply routes, poisoned wells, used psychological tactics to demoralize European soldiers who believed they were fighting savages only to face coordinated, disciplined military units. They adapted. When the French brought in trained soldiers, the Haitians studied their formations and found weaknesses. When the British invaded to seize the colony for themselves, the Haitians fought a 2-front war and still won. When the Spanish tried to reclaim the eastern part of the island, the Haitians pushed them back. 3 empires at the same time for over a decade, and the Haitians won every major campaign. You weren't taught this because it destroys the myth that Africans needed Europeans to teach them how to fight, how to think, how to govern. Haiti proved the opposite. Africans taught themselves, and they did it better. Now let's address the part of the story they used to discredit Haiti, the violence. Yes, the Haitian Revolution was violent. Plantations burned, masters were killed, blood was spilled, and every time Haiti is mentioned, that violence is centered. But here's what they don't center: the violence that came before. Saint-Domingue was a death machine. Enslaved Africans were worked to death within 7 years on average. 7 years. That's how brutal the plantation system was. It was cheaper to work someone to death and buy a new person than to keep them alive. Enslaved people were whipped until their flesh hung in strips. They were burned alive for attempting escape. They were tortured in ways specifically designed to maximize suffering. Pregnant women were buried up to their necks and left to die in the sun. Children were torn from their mothers and sold. People were branded like cattle. That was the foundation of Saint-Domingue. So when the enslaved rose up and fought back, when they killed the people who had tortured them, that wasn't savagery. That was justice. You don't call the American Revolution savage when colonists tarred and feathered loyalists. You don't call the French Revolution barbaric when they guillotined aristocrats. But when black people fight for their freedom, it's violence. When white people fight for their freedom, it's heroism. Let that sink in. The Haitian Revolution is framed as uniquely violent because framing it that way allows the story to be dismissed. If Haiti is chaos, it can't be inspiration. If Haiti is bloodshed, it can't be strategy. If Haiti is rage, it can't be reason. But it was all of those things. And it still succeeded. Here's something else they don't teach. After independence, Haiti became a sanctuary. Enslaved people from across the Caribbean and the Americas knew, if you make it to Haiti, you're free. Haiti's constitution declared that any enslaved person who set foot on Haitian soil was immediately free. No questions, no exceptions. Haiti wasn't just free, Haiti was a beacon, and that terrified every slaveholding nation on earth. Because Haiti wasn't asking permission. Haiti was offering proof. Proof that black people could govern. Proof that freedom was possible. Proof that the entire system of slavery was a choice, not a necessity. The United States, Britain, France, Spain, they all watched Haiti and understood. This can spread, so they isolated Haiti. They blockaded it. They refused trade. They spread propaganda that Haiti was cursed, that freedom had turned the island into a wasteland, that black self-rule was doomed to fail. But Haiti survived, not because of Europe, in spite of Europe. Let's talk about the women of the Haitian Revolution, because this wasn't just a male uprising. Women fought, women led, women strategized. Cécile Fatima, the priestess at Bois Caïman, wasn't just a spiritual figure, she was a strategist. She understood that the revolution needed more than weapons. It needed belief, it needed the ancestors, it needed voodoo. Sanité Belair was a sergeant in Toussaint's army. She fought in battles, she commanded soldiers. When she was captured by the French, they tried to break her. They executed her husband in front of her. She didn't break, they executed her too. Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière fought at the Battle of Crête-à-Pierrot, one of the most important battles of the Revolution. She didn't stay behind the lines. She was in the fight, rifle in hand, rallying troops. Dédé Basile led rebel forces in the south. These weren't exceptions, these were patterns. Haitian women understood that freedom wasn't something men would win for them. Freedom was something they would take for themselves. But their names don't appear in textbooks. Their stories aren't told. Because acknowledging the role of black women in the Haitian Revolution would completely shatter the colonial narrative that African women were passive, helpless, or dependent on European civilization. Haitian women were warriors. And they're erased for the same reason the entire revolution is erased, because their existence is proof that the lies don't hold. Now let's connect this to today. You've heard that Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. You've heard about political instability, corruption, natural disasters. You've heard Haiti framed as a failure, but you weren't told how that poverty was created. The 1825 debt to France wasn't paid off until 1947. 122 years. Haiti paid the equivalent of tens of billions of dollars for the crime of being free. Every school that wasn't built, every hospital that didn't open, every road that wasn't paved, that was because Haiti was forced to pay its oppressors. France got rich off that debt. Haiti was bled dry. And when Haiti finally stopped paying, the economic damage was done. Then came the invasions. The United States occupied Haiti from 1915 to 1934. They controlled the banks, they rewrote the Constitution, they installed puppet governments, they extracted resources. After the occupation ended, the U.S. continued to interfere. They supported dictators like François Papadoc Duvalier and his son Jean-Claude. They destabilized elected leaders who tried to redistribute wealth or challenge foreign control. When Jean-Bertrand Aristide, Haiti's first democratically elected president, demanded that France repay the debt Haiti had been forced to pay, he was overthrown in a coup. Twice. Let that sink in. Haiti's poverty isn't natural, it's engineered. It's the result of 2 centuries of punishment for daring to be free. And the narrative you were taught, that Haiti is poor because black people can't govern, is the final act of colonization. It's the lie that protects the crime. So what do we do with this knowledge? First, we stop repeating the lies. We stop saying Haiti fell into poverty. We start saying Haiti was impoverished by design. We stop framing the Haitian Revolution as chaos. We start framing it as one of the most brilliant military and political campaigns in human history. We stop erasing the names. Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, Sanité Belair, Cécile Fatima. Marie-Jeanne Lamartinière. These aren't footnotes, these are giants. Second, we recognize what Haiti represents. Haiti is proof that oppression isn't permanent. Haiti is proof that the enslaved can defeat the enslavers. Haiti is proof that freedom isn't given, it's taken. Every liberation movement since 1804 stands on Haiti's shoulders. Every person who fights against injustice is walking a path Haiti cleared. Haiti didn't just free itself, Haiti freed the idea of freedom. Here's the question they don't want you to ask. If Haiti succeeded in 1804, what does that mean for every system of oppression that came after? If enslaved Africans could defeat Napoleon, what does that say about the supposed superiority of European empires? If black people could govern themselves in 1804, what justification is there for colonization in 1884, or segregation in 1950, or any system built on the idea that black people need to be controlled? Haiti destroys the narrative completely. That's why it's hidden. Because if you know what Haiti did, you start asking why other revolutions didn't succeed. You start asking who benefited from those failures. You start asking what would have happened if the rest of the enslaved world had followed Haiti's example. And those questions lead to answers that dismantle everything you were taught about history, power, and race. Here's what I want you to take from this. The Haitian Revolution wasn't a miracle. It was intelligence, strategy, courage, sacrifice. It was Africans and their descendants refusing to accept that chains were their destiny. It was people who had every reason to give up deciding that freedom was worth dying for. And they didn't just die, they won. That's the part that changes everything. They won. Not symbolically, not morally, materially. They defeated armies, they built a nation. They abolished slavery. They governed themselves. And the world has spent 200 years trying to make you forget that. Because if you remember Haiti, you remember what's possible. You remember that systems aren't permanent. You remember that power can be challenged. You remember that the people who were never supposed to win have won before, and they can win again. The Haitian Revolution is the most important story you were never taught. Not because it's tragic, because it's triumphant. Not because it's chaos, because it's proof. Proof that African people are not and have never been inferior. Proof that slavery was a choice made by empires, not a natural condition. Proof that freedom is something you fight for, not something you wait to receive. Haiti fought 3 empires, Haiti won. And that victory belongs to every person who was told they couldn't, they shouldn't, they wouldn't. History tried to erase this. We're bringing it back. If you want more stories like this, stories they buried, stories they rewrote, stories they didn't want you to know, then this is where you belong. Subscribe to Ancient Africa Untold, because the truth doesn't hide itself. It's hidden. And we're done letting them control the narrative. This is our history, and we're taking it back.